Performance-minded compact SUVs are getting progressively more credible. Here's a case in point, the Volkswagen T-roc R. A crossover's never going to be the perfect starting point for a shopping rocket, but this one's been very thoroughly engineered to deliver most of the driving enjoyment of its similarly engineered Golf R counterpart. 300 PS, 4-motion 4-wheel drive, a throaty exhaust, a 445-litre boot, and quite a lot of street-side presence. What's not to like? Volkswagen R boss Jos Capito and his team started off with the usual Wolfsburg recipe for compact performance models, namely the award-winning EA 888 version of the 2-litre TSI petrol turbo engine in 300 PS form, plus 4-motion 4-wheel drive and a DSG 7-speed paddle shift auto gearbox. Pretty much what you'll find in a Golf R, and exactly as you'll find it with this car's two Volkswagen Group cousins, the Audi SQ2 and the Cupra Attica. Well, perhaps not quite exactly. Capito's engineers had to put quite a lot of specific effort in to make this formula really work for the T-roc. An aluminium subframe borrowed from the old Golf GTI has been fitted at the front for lower weight and extra stiffness. There's a 20mm drop in ride height over a standard T-roc, and the springs are 20% stiffer. The brakes are borrowed from the old Golf GTI Performance Pack model with bigger pads, and there are shorter gear ratios and specific damping settings, plus the option of Dynamic Chassis Control adaptive damping, which you can't have on an Audi SQ2, and which is really a must-have addition if you're to be able to experience everything the dynamics of this car can offer. A fatter rear spoiler improves downforce at high speeds, and there's a standard drive mode system with a rorty race setting, which really comes alive if you pay a ludicrous amount extra for the throaty Akrapovic exhaust. 62 miles an hour from rest takes just 4.8 seconds, en route to an actual, not limited, top speed of 155 miles an hour. Volkswagen has done its best to make this T-roc R stand out from its humbler showroom stablemates. The front gets a more distinctive radiator grille bearing the R logo, and in place of the usual front fog lights, LED daytime running lights are set into the front bumper. From the side, you might notice that widened wheel arches surround the 19-inch Pretoria alloy wheels and complement the black brake calipers, complete with R logos. There's also matte chrome effect covers for the door mirrors and lowered R Sport suspension. Plus, you can optionally specify the contrasting black finish we have here for the roof and A-pillars. The rear features smoked LED tail lights, an understated but assertive boot spoiler, and a black diffuser. Plus, the specially designed rear bumper houses an R GmbH hallmark for chrome-finished tailpipes. Inside, the cabin features a smattering of R logos on the door sill protectors, the front seat backrests, and the leather-trimmed multifunction sports steering wheel. As usual in a T-roc, a high-set, glass-fronted Discover Navigation 8-inch infotainment screen dominates the centre stack. You also view a further TFT monitor through this 3-spoke steering wheel, a digitalised, customisable instrument binnacle screen. Let's take a look in the back seat. Now, as in the standard model, there's comfortable space for a couple of adults on the back seat. You might expect headroom to be a touch restricted given the coupe-like rear styling and the fact that rear passengers sit 46mm higher than those at the front. As it turns out, a couple of 6-foot passengers can just about sit behind a couple of equally lanky front seat occupants with some degree of comfort. Out back, there's a decently sized boot measuring 445 litres when loaded up to the top of the second row seat backrests. As you'd expect, the T-roc R is class competitive in terms of running costs. WLTP CO2 emissions are rated at 197 grams per kilometre, and the WLTP combined cycle fuel consumption is rated at 32.5 miles to the gallon. an SUV is never going to be quite as agile or as confidence-inspiring as a conventional hatch. But with this T-roc R, there are compensations of extra practicality, and if you stretch to the optional Akrapovic exhaust, you'll at least feel more dynamic. It's all about perception, you see. The people who created this car understand that.